Welcome back. Kelly Stewart joined by Tom Neiman here. We'll also bring in Brian Shawn in a bit, but we are talking Summit League softball. The 2018 conference tournament starts tomorrow up in Fargo, and the top two seeds are lined up 2 hours apart right on I-29. But South Dakota State, Tom, is the story. What got into the Jacks this year?
They have been amazing. Nobody got to see it because they only played 2 home games all year, and those were the last 2 of the regular season. But the Jacks have been in Division I for 14 years now, since 2005. The softball team that first year was 30-29, and this is the first time now that they've finished above 500 since 2005. So it has been a dramatic turnaround. The Jacks are 18 games over 500 this year. All of the starters this year are juniors and seniors. They've got the experience. The Jacks have the top offense in the Summit League. They led the league in batting average and hits and runs scored. They are feeling good going into the tournament.
We're prepared. We can pretty much beat any team, and any team can beat us, really. It just kind of depends on our focus and what we bring to the field that day. But I'm feeling pretty confident in this weekend coming up.
Oh, very high, especially with the bye. We have a day off to practice and get ready and acclimate to the field. So I think we're pretty confident going into the tournament.
We've always been the 5 or 6 seed, and this year we're the 2 seed getting the bye, let you sit around, watch some games, kind of get yourself mentally prepared. And I think our team just has confidence this year. I mean, we've beaten, every team in the league once. So I think that gives us confidence just going into the tournament.
Jacks can really hit the ball. 7 of their 10 Summit League wins this year were by the run rule, where they're ahead by 8 runs with at least 5 innings gone in the game. Coach Wood says they just got after it this year. They love to practice. They love to get better. Started winning some games early, got some confidence that started to build and into more wins. So it's been a great season so far for South Dakota State. And as she said, they have the confidence of knowing that they've beaten everybody in the Summit League at least once during the regular season. It's been forever since they did that too. So there is a legit chance that they've got a shot at winning this thing. They played North Dakota State in Sioux Falls about a month ago. They split 2 games there. One of them got canceled because of the weather. But
go figure.
I think it was 19 in a row that North Dakota State had beaten South Dakota State until the Jacks beat them this year. So
oh my gosh. Well, it's all about falling in love with the process. You got to love practice. You got to love everything that goes into it, and it shows.
Like what happened this year, yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're going to bring in Brian Shawn. South Dakota State has the top hitting team going into the Summit League tournament. North Dakota State has the top pitching team, and it's not even close, Brian, is it?
No, it really isn't. And with North Dakota State, they've been able to throw 2 different pitchers throughout league play consistently, and both of them have performed very, very well. And Jacqueline Surdick, I think, has really become the top pitcher in the Summit League. You're talking about a kid that has a 1.74 ERA to lead the Summit League, and she has over 100 strikeouts more than the second highest pitcher with a strikeout total. So she can be very, very dominant, and we've seen that even this past weekend against Western Illinois. She threw 2 shutouts, and KK Letty, her backup, threw 1 shutout. Western Illinois in 3 games did not score a run. So North Dakota State on their home turf in a newly renovated facility, feeling pretty confident, I think, coming up this weekend.
Well, Tom talked about how SDSU has beaten each of the conference teams once this year. That builds confidence. Meanwhile, NDSU, they've won 8 out of the last 9 tournament championships. So how much does that matter?
Well, I think North Dakota State, they have a bunch of kids that were probably not exactly ready for what they saw last year, but were forced into the situation because they were just young and they had to go through it, and they found a way to win. Pretty much all those kids are back, so they do have some experience, and there's something to be said about tradition and culture and just being expected and used to winning and expecting to win when you get into some of those tight situations. So I think the Bison had to win 3 straight games to win another regular season championship this past weekend. They did that at home. They don't have to travel. They're playing in front of their home fans. They're playing somewhere they feel very, very comfortable and confident. So there's something to be said about a team that is used to being there, and when the screws tighten a little bit, do a really good job of responding.
That definitely helps. Well, let's take a look at the bracket, actually, for the Summit League tournament. We have that up here. And, Tom, any potential interesting matchups you see on here? What do you think?
It seems like we're going to get North Dakota State and South Dakota State into that matchup, at least, we see coming up there. South Dakota and Omaha in that first game. South Dakota swept Omaha during the regular season, so we expect the Coyotes to get in and play the Bison. And then Western Illinois went 3-0 against Fort Wayne during the regular season. So probably looking at Western Illinois and South Dakota State. Those first games in the tournament are win or go home. So two teams will be out by the time we get to Thursday, and then it's double elimination from there. But Brian, Western Illinois has been good in the last couple of years. They've challenged North Dakota State. IUPUI was really good last year. North Dakota State got knocked out, had to come through the losers bracket and beat IUPUI twice in the championship round. So there's been some contenders, maybe South Dakota State this year, but as you said, North Dakota State is still the favorite until somebody says otherwise.
Yeah, you'd have to say certainly they are, Tom. And it is kind of ironic that IUPUI would have actually been hosting this tournament had they still been in the Summit League. But with them leaving the league, North Dakota State finished second in the regular season, so they're the ones that get to host once again, and will be hosting again next year. And that's the luxury of winning the regular season championship, even though it was a very shortened schedule because of a lot of the weather. I mean, North Dakota State only played 13 conference games. That's just the hand you have to be dealt and what you have to deal with. But I think, when you get into this situation, and when games are coming down to the last couple of innings, you have evenly matched teams, it's who can execute best on some of the simple things, not only pitching but also defense, who's going to take care and bunt runners over and be effective moving runners over and getting timely hits when you have runners on base. So the team that kind of has the nerves usually struggles a little bit when you get into some of these tense situations. So we'll see which team plays the loosest, and I think the team that does that has the best chance of coming through. And
North Dakota State's had the best fielding percentage again this year in the Summit League, like they do about every year, so they win with pitching and defense. South Dakota State's going to see if they can get that offense going. The Summit League awards will be announced here this evening. Brittany Morse of South Dakota State is going to be the player of the year. The pitcher of the year is going to be Jacqueline Surdick from North Dakota State, and Krista Wood at South Dakota State will be the coach of the year this year in the Summit League for getting South Dakota State to the 2 seed for the first time.
All right, it all starts tomorrow. Great stuff. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, dude.
And remember, we will have NDSU's Thursday noon game live for you right here on Midco Sports Network. Tom and Brian, both on the call for that at Elig Sports Complex up in Fargo. Coming up after the break, we'll take it to the NSIC, find out how the Augie women's golf team is faring in their Super Regional, and a look at this weekend's Northern Sun Baseball Championship Tournament. Stay with us.